Yeah?
Today is my last day.
Today is your last day?
Yes, and I just want to express my infinite gratitude. And I have small little thank you for you.
What is this?
It's just a card that says thank you. It says more than thank you, but really yeah, my practice is,
Okay.
yeah, I feel I have some direction now.
Good. And don't look too much on morality, because morality, Mr. Marty and Tanya, they have to be raised at the same level at the same time, yeah? I mean, it's a problem of Westerners, I mean, lots of Westerners who do that, think, yeah, you cannot.
Yeah.
And I often observe it, the more people look at the small details, they forget the big details. And I mean, the small details are not so important, the big details are important. Okay?
I'll do my best.
Yeah, I mean, it's for you. Yeah. You don't help me with it.
Yeah.
You help yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're also leaving.
We're too late.
You're also leaving.
I was just gonna eavesdrop in, I guess, day 2.
What?
But I do have one question I have infinite curiosity around, which is, with your own process,
Yeah.
what was that like, the renunciation? As far as when you were younger, did you already know you had some energy towards, this contemplative life? And were there signs already before you even met Buddhism? And I'm just wondering if that was a slow process, or if there was a moment where it was like, okay, I have to leave this world, like this society behind.
That you were born Christian, Catholic, or Protestant?
Under the Christian flag, yeah.
So the Protestants, at 14 years, they get some confirmation of the religion. Yeah? Just wait. It was a very slow process, huh? But I was never happy. I mean, I've always felt, when I was born or when I was very young, that this world is so cruel. And I couldn't understand it, why people, hurt each other, and also in the process, I got hurt a lot. I mean, I think the first 18 years, I mean, I completely locked myself off, But I had a lot of bad karma also.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was looking down, everybody was making fun of me, and so on, I remember when I was quite good at school, yeah. I mean, the first primary school. But on the way back home, if I didn't have my big friends with me, I mean, they always beat me up, every day. So I got a lot of bad karma, in the first 18 years of my life. But then it changed, it became very good, But the question, I always had, what is it, I mean, who tells, who says this, I mean, who puts all this, Why is one person born, in the ghetto of New York, and his father teaches him how to kill people, and the other person is born as a prince, somewhere, and lives in completely luxury, So, I mean, if you ask that your Christian priests, they say it is God's will. I said, I don't understand it, I mean, they don't even have a chance, of doing good. And the others, I have a lot of chance to doing good, How can this be God's will, Because the person who does bad, I mean, he goes to hell, I mean, for eternity, and the other person goes, So God decides, who goes to hell from the beginning of the life, I wouldn't believe that, yeah. And only later I came in touch with Buddhism, and then, everything was explained. Yeah? I mean, it's not one life, it's millions of lives that we live, and they come up from one life. I mean, we will receive, in other lives. Yeah? So, I mean, that's why we are born, some people are born in a very bad situation, and other people, are born, with great parents, yeah, who teach them good, yeah. Huh? And others, I mean, we know, we all have friends, Hmm? Some parents were really terrible, and other parents, were very, very helping, very supporting, yeah. And some were mixed, yeah? So I mean, it explains, karma explains it. So I was looking, I was looking for something else, yeah, because I always was looking for something else. There must be something else. There must be another meaning to life. And I mean, when I looked at my parents, they were married, I had children, I worked, till the end of their life, and then what? Then they died. Huh? So what is the purpose? Yeah? Huh? But nobody could actually explain it to me. And then later on I took up meditation, and then and only when I took up meditation, I saw, there's something, there's something much more to life, than the life I was living. And I had a good job, and I could do whatever I wanted, and I got paid for it. You don't find this job anymore. Not in the West, yeah. Maybe in very special places, you can find a job like that. But then, I mean, what is the meaning of, hoarding money? Huh? I mean, even going, going on trips, all over the world. Yeah, it didn't have the same satisfaction as doing practice. Huh? And then one time, when I was clear of that, or my heart was clear of that, yeah, that I mean, life doesn't bring anything, yeah, brings less than I can get from meditation. Then I said, okay, what was that? But people from the West always make the decision in their head. Yeah? That's why it never works out. If the decision comes from the heart, huh? Then it is so easy, to live a renunciated life, or even go into mendicant. It's so easy, I mean, because the heart wants it, yeah. And when the heart wants it, it does it. Yeah? The mind tells us all stories. Oh no, it's so dangerous, but the heart says, I don't care. Yeah.
And the problem is sometimes we say to ourselves that I'm going to follow my heart, but then you don't even know how your heart really.
Yeah, that's why you need practice. Yeah, that's why you need meditation. Yeah, I mean, when you see the results, when the heart sees the results of your meditation practice and knows that is the way to go. I mean, then it will go. Yeah. But the mind will, the mind will tell us, no, this is not, I mean, you should be careful, what is going to happen when you're 70, Huh? But the heart says, I don't care. Yeah, I know it's the right thing. Yeah. So it's a discussion, yeah, and it can be quite painful, because the mind, or the kilesas create a lot of pain, but the heart is very stable and it knows, and then that's the right time, actually, to go into renunciation or becoming a monk. Yeah? If you do it from the mind, I mean, the heart says, no, I don't want to. Yeah, and then you see the Western monks after 2 or 3 years, they work very hard, yeah, striving to attain to something, yeah, and then they realize they cannot attain to something, yeah, and then they give up the ropes, So I mean, the key, I mean, I told you the key to practice is to observe what is happening, to understand, yeah, to understand the heart, yeah, and that's why we need to go into the heart. And the heart, once the heart, I mean, once the heart is open, yeah, I mean, then we have all the possibilities, right? But it's a difficulty, yeah? Because we trained, for 20, 30, 40 years our mind, yeah? And we believe only the mind, yeah? The heart is, still, still sometimes uncomfortable, and that's not, maybe this is not the right way. But the mind says, yes, look at all the other people, it must be the right way, huh? Huh?
Is it some karmic?
Of course, there is also karmic, yeah?
Going or stopping to.
Of course, yeah. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have the karma. Yeah? People who don't have the karma, don't come, yeah. Or, yeah, if they come, they cannot stay, yeah, because the karma doesn't allow it to stay. Yeah? You have to have certain karma, to be able to stay here. Yeah? Or the same thing in Pantat, yeah. You have to be able, to have the karma to live with an arahant. And if you didn't have that karma, the next day you were gone. Even though you liked this place very much, but the karma was driving you out, yeah. So many people, yeah. Especially Westerners. Oh, this is a great place, and the next day they were gone. What? No, they were not kicked out. The heart kicked them out. Huh? Or the mind, whatever.
They become sick.
Yeah, it's a karma. If the karma is not there, why are people born at the times of the Lord Buddha? It's because of their karmic. Yeah? Why do they come? Yeah, there are a lot of people who never met the Lord Buddha, even though they just lived in the village next by. Yeah. In Udon, I met so many people who came after the cremation to Wat Babantat. Before the cremation of Lungta Mahabodhi, they never came. It was the same distance. They never had the karma, to meet, yeah, people like that. Yeah? So it's always a karma, yeah. So don't use your brain, to decide what to do. Let your heart, yeah. Ask your heart, yeah. Go into meditation and then ask your heart, yeah. And if the heart does not know the answer, then just go on with your practice until the heart tells you the answer. Yeah? It's the best.
When also you talking about the we are here maybe because of the karma. I think if I'm not get wrong, when I read the enlightenment stage like to Sotapanna, that is also a way to go to Sotapanna and the Sotapanna stage. So what is in fact this way to go to Sotapanna? Like if someone is not enter the stream yet, but is on the way to enter the stream, right? So it's how to understand that is like also karmic reaction or.
Yes, of course, it depends on your karma of your previous lives, how far you get into this life, yeah? But you can always make some more effort, yeah? You don't know how much effort you did in your last life. Maybe you were just at the gate of Sotapanna, and then, you couldn't make it, and in this life, either you choose not to, or you choose to go, so you can go through the gate. But if you have been far away, so the only thing that I can say, go as fast as you can, yeah? Maybe you reach a gate, or maybe you don't, yeah? Maybe you're close to the gate, and in the next life, if you make a determination, that in the next life you will continue, yeah? And the more you practice, practice towards this determination, then this determination will be fulfilled, yeah? Even if you don't reach it, yeah. But maybe you probably have the chance, to reach it, yeah. But it all depends on your effort, yeah. And I don't mean the Western effort. It has to work. It has to. No. Just one breath, yeah. Another breath, and another breath, yeah. And an investigation. Yeah? That's all. If you understand what this practice is about, the moment you wake up, you're either with the Buddha or with the breath, yeah, and then, or with the investigation, if you can go into samadhi very quickly. If you can go into samadhi very quickly, then you start with the investigation. And then the investigation is the main part of the practice. Huh? But as long as you don't go into samadhi very easily, then samadhi is the main part of your practice. Huh? I mean, investigation is that, what cuts the fetters. This we have to understand. Huh? But it is the same thing, I mean, if you try to cut branches of a tree, yeah, and you don't have a sharp knife, and samadhi is sharpening the knife. And the sharper it is, the easier it cuts through. Yeah? That's what we have to understand.
Why are we sometimes afraid to go to samadhi,
Yeah?
deeper samadhi?
Because we lose ourselves. That's what you think you are. That is gone in the moment you enter deeper samadhi. Yeah? And appana samadhi is even worse, yeah? Because not only you lose yourself, because I mean, when you lose yourself, it is the notion of self, but you still feel, you still hear, you still, you're still aware of things. Yeah? But appana samadhi is you're not aware of anything. Yeah? I mean, the difference between subject and object, when subject and object merge into one point, we cannot say anything about this one point. That's why appana samadhi is also called one-pointedness. Yeah? Where everything merges into one point. Yeah, I mean, you can call it as a Big Bang. Yeah.
Is that they also call him shunyata?
What?
Is that the same as shunyata or emptiness in them?
I mean, yes, there's the emptiness. I wouldn't call it emptiness, because there is knowingness, and knowingness is not emptiness. Huh? But emptiness, I mean, it is a. It depends on what people understand under emptiness. Yeah? I mean, there are stages, of your practice where you feel your heart is empty, yeah, and then people, I mean, practitioners or monks, went to look. Oh, my heart is so empty, yeah, and then he said, "You are still in there." You know that your heart is empty, so you are the problem, yeah. So it's not really empty, yeah. It's not empty of you, yeah. It's empty of all the other things, but it's not empty of you. Yeah? That's difficult to understand, but it's quite funny. Yeah?
Is it also like to be afraid of death or something? Because it happens when I get to the point where I don't have thought and I just know that there is the breath.
Yeah.
And something suddenly coming and telling me,
yes, the kilesas are coming.
So is it the kilesas?
Yeah. You have to. I mean, if you go before you go. I mean, there are two ways to go into appana samadhi. Yeah, the one is being interested of what is happening. That just pulls you in. Yeah, that is the easiest way. Yeah? The other way is a struggle. Yeah, and the struggle can go for hours. Yeah, so before, if I mean, it is you easily come to this point. Yeah. Ask yourself, yeah? I mean, when I go to sleep, I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know if I'm waking up. Yeah? So let's be, or tell yourself, yeah, whatever can disappear, let it disappear, and I stay with what is left over. Yeah? Because this you can be assured, yeah, that there's something left over.
There was one time, very long time ago, it happened to me, and I went to sleep.
Yeah.
But I wake up.
Yeah.
And suddenly I didn't know where I am, who I am.
That is appana samadhi.
And it took me like 5 minutes.
That's right.
And I look at my watch, and it's like I feel like hours has passed, but it's just like.
That's right.
And I start to really panic. What's happened? And
yeah, because nobody could tell you about these things. Yeah. I mean, if you would have known, this is the thing that happens, when you go into one-pointedness, and if you stayed there for a while, then you come out and you really don't know Yeah, because then, yeah, I mean, if somebody tells you, then look how this world is built up. Because then you see the thoughts coming up, the memories coming back. Slowly you gather your existence, yeah? And then you see your existence is nothing else, yeah? than these modern video games, yeah? Where you choose a personality, and be some person, and play a certain role, yeah? And this all comes back to you after you went into this one-pointedness. Yeah? I mean, it is interesting when you watch how this world, arises, yeah, and only through our memories and thoughts, yeah, and then feeling, of course, and then the senses that comes in, yeah. I mean, it happened to me, huh? The same thing, especially when I long, yeah. I mean, and I saw it building up, I mean, I was sitting in my kuti, I was a monk, and I looked, where am I? Who am I? What is it? Why are you wearing these clothes and so on, I mean, what is happening? So it takes 5 minutes or maybe even 10 minutes until your world comes back to the world that you left before, yeah? I mean, it's so amazing, and then you see, and then you understand why the Lord Buddha talks about it. This world is an illusion, yeah? Yeah? Because we see the illusion, being created, yeah? Before we were one, yeah? And now we are suddenly separate, yeah? So we see ourselves, in a different environment. We see the subject and the object, yeah? being separated out again. But sometimes it doesn't have to happen every time. Yeah? Sometimes you can just come out. It is it is like a minute dream. Yeah, but hours have passed. Yeah. So don't worry about this. Yeah? I mean, if you're interested, I mean, these things. I mean, if you understand what is happening, and if you're interested to observe, what is happening, if you learn to observe what is happening, then you understand, yeah? And then you understand, I mean, there's nothing in this world, that, huh? But your colleagues, love to play these video games, yeah? They're constantly busy, yeah? I mean, it's nothing else, yeah? And they get angry as well, yeah? When they can't, when they can't shoot down this person or can't find this treasure, I mean, they get angry, I mean, we get angry in this world, yeah? And they get angry in their virtual reality. And it's becoming more and more virtual reality, so people will not be able to decide which kind of reality is it now. Huh? Is it the reality that we are experiencing right now, or is it a virtual reality with a helmet on, with all these? We are rebuilding our imagination or our illusion, on the second stage, yeah, going down one more deeper level. How will these people ever get out? Yeah. Yeah? We are already, it's very difficult for us to get out of this game, yeah? Huh? to find something, huh? But these people, who are in the game and play a game, yeah?
Layer upon layer upon layer.
Yeah. It's very difficult to get out. Okay, you understand? You don't be afraid of anything. You just observe, yeah? And be interested, yeah? Now you have the opportunity to see, what is happening. Yeah? Yeah?
But there is no preparatory work to kind of relax it before that things happen, and
Yes,
kind of...
the relaxation is, I mean, to make comfort. Okay, whatever can disappear, let it disappear.
So just maybe program how.
Yeah, program. Yeah, just like a little kid programs itself. I mean, or gets programmed that when the light is out, she doesn't die. Yeah. Yeah? I mean, we are afraid in the beginning when we are little children to go to bed, because we don't know what is happening. Yeah. So it's the same kind of programming. Yeah. I mean, as I said, there are two ways. Yeah. Being interested is the easier way. Yeah. Huh? Otherwise, then we have to program ourselves. Yeah. And make sure, to understand the fear that comes up is the fear of the kilesa. It's not you. Yeah? Use this principle of anatta. Yeah? Whatever I can see. Huh? So don't say, I'm afraid. Say, there's fear, and then you can see it. That's fear. Yeah? And that's me. I can see the fear. So how can the fear be me? Yeah? So I don't have to be afraid of the fear.
So we cannot get crazy or something.
No. You can only get crazy when you can't stop thinking anymore. Yeah? See about all these philosophers who got crazy? Yeah? And the last one was who was right? Hofstadter, who was writing, or Hofstadter, who was writing Gödel, Escher, Bach. Now he's in a mental institution. Have you ever read it?
No.
Yeah, Hofstadter, Gödel, Escher, Bach. That was the most. He was so close. But then he couldn't stop thinking, and he ended up in a mental institution. There were only a few people who really understood what he was saying. Yeah, it was fascinating, but came out 86. Yeah, the book was very, very interesting. But you only get crazy if you can't stop thinking. Huh? If you can go into samadhi where thinking stops, you can't get crazy.
From samadhi,
No, not at all. Yeah. People who don't know samadhi says you get crazy when you do samadhi, because they don't know. Yeah? They are themselves are afraid of it.
Because when I had this very strange experience, people took me to hospital and said, "You have problems," but they do a lot of checks, and I was like, okay, nothing.
What were they afraid of?
I don't know, something with my brain.
Yeah, people in the world don't understand, what is going on. Yeah? So I normally I don't even talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah? Don't even tell them what is happening, because they will not understand and think that you are crazy. But actually, who is crazy are they? Yeah? No, if nobody asks you, don't say anything. Don't say anything. People will not be able to understand, because they live in their fixed world. Yeah. And don't even question their kind of basic assumptions.
No.
They start to get afraid if their basic assumption, if their solid ground, what they think is solid ground that they stand on, if it starts to shake, they are in trouble.
Their defenses come up, and they say,
Of course, their defenses come up, but if they can't defend it anymore, then they can go nuts. Yeah. Then they need a psychologist to put them back on the
So it's not our job.
No, it's not our job. Yeah. If people are getting interested, and you really have to be careful. Yeah. You saw it yesterday. I was giving a long talk. Yeah. And today, I didn't know what to say. Yeah. Because people were not interested. So why should I tell them anything that they would not understand anyway? Yeah. Or they would take it the wrong way. Yeah. So you don't teach people, something, that they don't understand or take the wrong way. Yeah? You only teach people, who are interested. Yeah, but
I have one more question. What you mentioned just. Sometimes I'm not telling people. For example, if I'm going to a monastery, especially at work, because I doubt that they would understand anyways, and I don't want to explain myself.
Yeah.
Would you say that's bad karma?
No.
Or
why should it be bad karma? You don't tell them a lie. Yeah. If they ask you where you go, then you just say to Thailand. Yeah. Or to Tibet. Or to India. Yeah. Or Gaya. Yeah, I mean, in the 70s, all these famous rock singers, and rock bands, went all to India, yeah, huh? And came back, with some good ideas, nice ideas, yeah. That's why nowadays, the music sucks so much because they don't, yeah. They don't have any ideas. They don't have any creativity anymore. It's just, it's just mechanical. Yeah? And the lyrics, don't make any sense anymore. Yeah? But when you look, at the 70s, 60s, and 70s, that was, yeah, the Vietnam War was going on, so yeah, the Bob Dylan, or other rock bands, against the war, or, bringing some new ideas back from India, yeah, that we did not hear in the West, yeah. But then mid of 70s, it has dissipated, yeah. There was nothing left, yeah. The hippie generation, died out, yeah. And they became conformists, even more conformists, before they became, when they became hippies, they wanted to open up the society, and when they went back into society, they even closed it more. Look at this vague culture, that I don't even want to talk about it. I just see it, and I think, yeah, what is it now? How many genders are there now? 64 genders? When I was born, there were only 2 genders, yeah? Male and female.
But the idea from the beginning was deconstruction, right? From Derrida and the philosophy that
Yeah.
But after it was become.
Yeah. They couldn't find anything, yeah. I don't know what happened. But, some of the hippies remained hippies, yeah? But most of them, became really conformists, yeah? So is your question answered, or you don't even say anything, yeah? Unless they really ask, yeah?
Yeah, for me, I'm always imagining. I would say 95% of the cases they are not interested in it anyways, right? But I imagine how I came to Buddhism, and that was why, because someone mentioned he's going on a meditation retreat, and then that kind of like rang a bell within me, and I'm always imagining, okay, like if I'm not talking about it, like maybe I'm stopping someone who could be potentially interested in it, and that's back
There are so many ways, yeah, they will find it, yeah. If they have the karma, they will find it, yeah. Mm.